What is going on, YouTubeverse? John Stanek from Johnny Radio here, bringing you another Top 5 on this glorious Top 5 Friday. And guys, we made it through the 90s, my Top 5 personal favorite Top 5 albums of the 90s. This was extremely hard to whittle down because one of the greatest decades in music history. And as you know, I love so many bands, so many artists. We're in the midst of now doing the top 90 albums of the 90s countdown with me and Nathaniel Ahart as well. So you'll see from my top 5 where some of these will land hopefully high on that list as well. But these are my favorites. So let's get right to it at number 5. The Bends by Radiohead from 1995, their sophomore album, and I think one of the best sophomore smashes of all time. I mean, just the title track alone, which is my personal favorite Radiohead song out of all their catalog, just so incredible and so hard rocking throughout this album. I mean, Johnny Greenwood was like at his guitar hero greatest here, as well as Ed O'Brien. And really, I mean, 3 guitar attack on some of these songs like Just and My Iron Lung, which are just incredible and build into these insane guitar solos that only Johnny Greenwood can do. Then you've got the stripped down beauty of songs like High and Dry and Fake Plastic Trees, which is just one of the greatest ballads of the decade. You've got Opener, Planet Telex, Closer, Street Spirit, wrapping it up in a alternative bow that is just so lovely. And I could go on and on about this album, but we got 4 more to go. So at number 4... In the Aeroplane Over the Sea by Neutral Milk Hotel from 1998. Jeff Mangum and the guys from Athens, Georgia, creating this album that for many, myself included, I would not hear it until well after. It had to be 5 or 6 years after the release. It was one of those word of mouth albums that just through the grapevine became this cult classic. And obviously he never topped it because they never made another album after it. And it's like, how could you? Because this is really just a perfect from start to finish record of just, I don't even know how you would define it. I guess lo-fi, indie rock, and the lo-fi-ness of it is what makes it so great. How it'll be acoustic strumming and then just fuzzed out electric coming in out of nowhere on songs like Holland 1945. The title track is a great ballad, Two-Headed Boy, just everything on here. The Communist Daughter, Oh Calmly, the way that the tracks flow into one another and tell not really a cohesive story, but it's loosely based on the Diary of Anne Frank. And just it's very sad in that regard in a lot of ways, but also the music on songs like Ghost are so soaring, and the way they introduce these elements of like the singing saw and bagpipes on certain songs that you think, how does this work? But it does every time, and I absolutely love it. And that's just my number 4. So now at number 3, Nevermind by Nirvana. And it's like, how is this only my number 3? Well, I'm telling you, man, the 90s, one of the greatest decade in music history. And this, this felt like the start of the 90s. When this hit, man, it was an explosion unlike any other out of Seattle. Dave Grohl, Chris Novoselic, and the great Kurt Cobain coming on the scene with Smells Like Teen Spirit. It was all over the place, and it was just incredible. And the way that these guys could rock so hard with like a punk rock ethic, but also be so catchy at the same time with these great melodies on songs like In Bloom and Come As You Are and Lithium. And there is not a weak track on this album, just all the way through. I just listened to it the other day, and it still holds up. I mean, the production by Butch Vig is so good on the ballads as well, like Something in the Way and Polly, which all the songs, I mean, it's a testament to Kurt Cobain as a songwriter. Like when you really delve into the lyrics on all these songs, there's always something of substance. And I think also he's really underrated as a guitarist and a vocalist. Like nobody can scream like him on songs like Territorial Pissings, for example. Just incredible, and only at my number 3. So now at number 2, OK Computer by Radiohead. Yes, I had to have Radiohead on my list twice. And yes, if I was being fair, I could have bumped something like maybe a Pearl Jam into the top 5 instead of the Bends. But I had to go with my actual favorites here. And OK Computer just takes that extra step above the Bends. Like this is a perfect record, from Airbag all the way through The Tourist. All the songs just fit so well together, and kind of like Neutral Milk Hotel, it's not quite it doesn't really tell a cohesive story, yet the theme of the album, which is all about alienation and how we're so connected via technology, but so isolated from one another. And it was so ahead of its time in that way because, oh my gosh, do we feel like that now? But man, songs like Karma Police, just one of their greatest, No Surprises. The way Tom York, like every single song, he sings in a different way. Like he's expressing different emotions on each song, like exit music for a film, for example, and then going into songs like Electioneering, which is this hard rocking, and then Climbing Up the Walls where he's screaming into the guitar, creating this distorted sound. It's just incredible. And of course, the rest of the band just never more united and firing on all cylinders. Incredible. And that's just my number 2. So now at number 1, Achtung Baby by U2. Had to have this at my number 1, and as many of you know and have heard me say, the song 1 is my favorite song of all time. So just for that alone, I mean, it's an incredible album, but the rest of the songs around it are also incredible. Mysterious Ways, I think, is one of the greatest pop rock songs of all time, with such a simplistic riff that almost sounds like Edge is dropping the guitar on the floor, but he makes it work in such a cool way. And then Adam Clayton's bass just giving it that amazing, huge bottom end, which carries through the rest of the album. This is like, when U2 said they were chopping down the Joshua Tree, they really meant it, because Achtung Baby issues in a whole new sound for U2, a lot more electric guitar by the Edge, and just amazing guitar playing on songs like The Fly or Until the End of the World, and a lot of electronica mixed in, like some pre-programmed beats on songs like Zoo Station, but also Larry Mullen Jr. bringing in that rock aesthetic, making it this huge sound. And of course, Brian Eno and Daniel Lanois' production, top notch, bringing in also Flood as an additional producer. I mean, and then the songwriting is just incredible throughout. And they were going through some really hard stuff. The Edge was going through a divorce. The band almost split up themselves, and that's how One came about, where they really needed this song to unify. And it's such a beautiful song of unity in general, among other things. But I've gone on and on about that on so many other videos at this point. But yes, got to love Achtung Baby, just one of the greatest rock records of all time. And that is my list, guys. So let me know in the comments below what you think. What would your top 5 be? If you're so bold, leave me a top 10. And as I mentioned before, we're in the midst. We just started last week counting down, based on your votes, the top 90 albums of the 90s. So we'll see where these rank on there. Be sure to check that out, and be sure to also subscribe to Nathaniel Ahart's channel, as we do it back and forth every week. But guys, thank you so much for watching. We have top 5s every Friday, album reviews, so much more. Thank you, and as always, Viva la vinyl. So guys, thanks so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and be sure to ring the bell for notifications so you can always see great quality content like you're seeing on the screen right now. Thank you so much for supporting Johnny Radio, and I'll see you soon.